Welcome to The Greatest Show, episode 152, with the original crew, Bob Miato.
Hey.
Tricia Allen.
Hi.
And the baldest, beautifulest DJ Allen. That's me. Woo!
Recently more bald than ever.
Recently, yes, because I shaved this morning. I feel so much better. It is so glorious. We are hunkered down in pandemic season because everybody is, and we're podcasting because I've got a week off, and that's just what we're doing.
So she heard you say, "I'm starting the recording," and immediately she says as well, "Then I want to go out."
Like, oh, I need to start talking.
Yeah. Well, that's how that works, you know.
Yeah.
So Bob's gonna let her out.
I'm not. I have to. Otherwise, she's just going to get louder and louder. She'll actually start talking in a little while. Oh, she's not by the door. Maybe she'll just like a treat.
Maybe she wanted to play hide and seek.
Oh, maybe it's that.
Yeah.
I hate the idea of giving her a treat when she barks, because then she'll just like, oh, all I have to do to get a treat is to bark. Kind of like babies. All I gotta do is cry and I get a booby. And it's brilliant.
Our guinea pigs like to walk around in their cage and follow us as we walk by them and squeak so that they get something too.
Bob, in fairness, that's how I do it.
And does that work for you?
Almost every time.
Oh. Well, then I guess I'm not aware of where it's coming from.
Well, I do it when I'm at home.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Mostly in the morning.
I don't see you in the morning.
Yeah, you do on the weekends.
Sure.
Yeah.
You guys have mornings?
We do.
So, yeah, I get up pretty early, and then, I head off to work. I like to get up early enough to where I have plenty of time to wake. You got the people who come in, like, totally looking like zombies because they just woke up 10 minutes before they had to be at work. I couldn't do that.
I remember that you used to do that, though.
Yeah, because I used to stay up way too late. So it's like, oh, gotta go.
Well, I remember I would set my alarm for 27 minutes before I actually needed to be up to get us going for muster, because I would hit the snooze 3 times. And then I would go get ready, and then I would wake you up when I was ready, and you would roll out of bed and basically throw your uniform on, basically in time to go out to the car so that we could go. Except got in trouble. Except on the mornings where we needed to iron everything, because then we both know we had all the ring out.
Yeah. I actually enjoyed, I don't know if you were involved in it. I know I was in boot camp when I did that, when we had an inspection coming. It might have been A school, but during an inspection, it was that morning, and somebody had like really, really wrinkly. So like, come here, dude. He comes over and just like, he's like, ow! I'm hold still. I ironed it right on him. And then
you attempted to do that a couple times.
It didn't take long before there was a line of people. Like literally, there was 2 of us with an iron, and a line of people coming through. And it's like they're just putting up their arms and turning around, and we would hit any spot that was wrinkled, and then they would go. But oh yeah, which brought up we would get that damn iron line going anytime we needed to. Everybody kind of knew their place after a while. This dog, I don't know, man. I apologize for having to take the dog out, but I have to take the dog.
It happens.
Well,
I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm out
I
with
took
my
the
cat.
wife out.
No, I'm out now.
I know. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is our military isn't very prepared.
So there was one morning Bob came at me with the iron and he's like, "Let me get those." And I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 buddy. Hang on there. I think my uniform's fine." He's like, "No, I can make it better." I'm like, "No, no, just go ahead and put the iron down." But then he made me iron him standing up, so I did that. But we eventually figured out at one point that if we just hung the uniforms in the bathroom while one of us was showering, the wrinkles would fall out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
We were
job,
actually
guys.
we were quite like one of the things that I would do because I was so prepared is that I would have a large glass the night before of Dr. Peppermint, Dr. Pepper Peppermint Schnapps. I got that from DJ.
You're
And I'd
welcome.
only drink about half of it. That way in the morning, I still had half of it in the fridge that I could chug before work. Because nobody ever questions mint on your breath in the morning.
Ah, yes. DJ's only alcoholic confection that he ever came up with that is so famous. And every single person I ever introduced to that to always immediately goes, "Ew." And then they try it and they're like, "This is actually pretty good."
Yes. Yes, exactly. Same here. And like I used to drink Dr. Pepper all the time, and just the idea of like you've literally never taken a sip of that while chewing gum, because same thing, you know. No,
Well,
I like it.
so I did have one person, they didn't know what the balance was. So they're like, "How much do you?" Because I didn't have a balance. I just kind of poured until I felt comfortable with it. But I figured it out. It's basically 3/4 Dr. Pepper and 1/4 peppermint schnapps. So there, the magic secret is out. Use it, people. And then if you really want to hit it hard, you want to go about 2/3 and 1/3. You never want to go half and half because at that point you might as well just drink it straight because there's so much peppermint schnapps in the Dr. Pepper, you're not really diluting it.
I drank a lot of Jack and Cokes while we were in, and that's kind of what I did there. Was I would start out with about that much Jack and the rest of it Coke, and then the next drink that was the ratio was a little bit different, and then like towards the end there was not much Coke in there at all, but yeah, and good times were had by all.
And Tricia loves Long Island iced teas.
Yeah, I used to have those.
A lot, yeah.
There was a bar there in, was it Biloxi? No, it was in Gulfport. There was a bar there right by the railroad tracks, and every time the train went by, they would call a number, and whoever had that ticket got a free Long Island iced tea, and then they would go around and pass out another one to everybody in the bar.
I don't think I knew about that.
I don't know if I was ever there with you. I was there with Angie's father and cousin and some people.
That was probably
But
after I left then, yeah.
I believe so. And when we went there, it was weird because the only ones that were there was me, her dad, her cousin, and a friend of like the cousins or something. So each of us got a free drink because that was all that was there.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That is funny.
Yep. So yeah, I am. I've been screwing around today at work making a Pokemon for the Pokemon Tabletop Adventures game, while also playing the D20 Modern game. And there's a whole bunch of games, and I'm not playing with anybody. There's like nobody here to play with, but I'm using the Mystic to play a solo game with the Modern.
That reminds me, while we're actually podcasting, I need to put my Mythic digital copy in my downstairs computer from where I'm at because I didn't have it on my downstairs computer to start putting it on my phone.
Nice.
Um,
An off copy.
oh, sorry,
So-
not Mystic, Mythic.
Yes. I went to Staples and I stuck in the flash drive, and they printed me off a like paper copy. So it has the binder and the cover and all that.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I was wondering about your paper copy because, yeah, there it is. Because I didn't know where you would have gotten the book. If I want a paper copy, I can just make the one crocheting there, print me one.
Or you can print it yourself.
Or I can print it myself because, I have that ability.
Crochet me a cup.
I have all kinds of.
But no,
And
I do like the having it kind of separated from. I don't know what this is. But it's cool having. I like the digital ones. They're convenient. You can have them on any devices and flash drives and phones and all that. But something about having the actual book in front of you just makes it so much easier to find what you're looking for.
Oh, I agree, but I mean, sometimes you can't have the physical product in front of you and you need the digital, so I mean, you don't really have an option.
Right.
So we had this conversation while Tricia was still trying to connect to our wonderful Skype recording system. I wanted her to see what was going on behind you there, Bob. If you can grab one of those wonderful books behind you and show her what we were looking at beforehand, you're going to want to pay attention, hon.
So this is I got Wizardology, Dragonology, and Piratology.
Do the Piratology.
The Piratology.
Yeah.
So I don't remember who got me these. I'm thinking it might have been my now ex-wife. So the cover has the compass in the cover, and then throughout the whole thing here, it has like it's almost but not quite like a pop-up book. So it has like little pages and things. This is a letter that is tied up. Here, I'll go ahead and untie this here because I'm kind of curious as to what's in there. Because it's been a while. George, by the grace of God. So this is just I don't know. But yeah, throughout the whole thing, it has God damn it, things in there. The other one had scrolls, and this looks like a treasure map.
wow.
Yeah, treasure map. So that's kind of neat.
So when I had asked about these, hun, I thought it was a game supplement, but it's not.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just a way of like, oh, there's some really neat stuff in here. Oh, this is a bag of gold. This isn't exactly King's Ransom, but it is a tidy sum of gold all the same, and it's just golden glitter. There's another bag, also gold. It's probably the other side of the other one.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say with the way it's positioned. Those cheaters. You thought you got 2 bags of gold.
Yeah. But yeah, these are kind of neat. You never know. Oh, these are nautical terms. Aft and aloft and avast. There's another page of it. So yeah, that's neat. But yeah, I got the dragon one. One of the things that was in the wizard one was a small book that was the dragon book. Just a few pages of it though, but it was the same.
Yeah.
Oh, another bag of gold. No, this one is a scrap of red pirate flag.
So it's kind of like the mysterious box company in a book.
Kinda.
Yeah.
And I actually compared it to that Dracula book that we bought, where it was the mystery and we had all the scraps of paper and the fake money and all that the letters and stuff. So,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
This is a guide to knots, and then it has like 2 pieces of cord here that you can practice them.
Oh, cool.
That's pretty neat. But yeah, those are cool. That's what I got. Handle with press.
I thought you would find that neat since we're all into the whole mysterious
Yes.
package company and whatnot also.
Yeah. I'd say that we could solve a couple of those this week, but will we get the chance?
Will we get the chance?
How those been going?
We tend to go hardcore into them up to a certain point, and then we either reach a stopping point or we get distracted by life, and then we end up not going back to them. So, I mean, we've got 3, maybe 4 that we've kind of hit that point at.
Yeah, with the biggest box that we got, I think for my birthday last year or the year before.
Yeah.
We got all the way to where there was this little code on a bunch of pages, and first you had to figure out how the code worked with the alphabet, and then you could go through and you could decode all of these little messages that are all over everything in the package. And we got to the point where I think we had two more codes to crack, like one that was on the mask and maybe one other, and we never did it. We were so close to the end.
Yeah.
You even had the code to break the code and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, we decoded a whole bunch of messages on a whole bunch of stuff, and we each did it separately so that we could each have the chance to do it after we figured out the code. And then yeah, we were down to like, okay, let's do these last 2, and I don't know what happened. But there's this
I think we were in the process of moving, I think, and we had to break the map down. Oh, no.
Well,
we put the map in another room, and then at that point we had to break the map down to move. So, I mean, the map isn't even in one piece anymore.
You mean the house blueprints?
Yes, the house blueprints, yeah.
The map, otherwise, yeah, the house map. No, it sat in that other room forever because I remember taking it apart to move us to this new condo. So yeah, we do have a couple more boxes. We have one of the escape room companies in Portland is doing an online virtual escape room since they've had to close and have lost all of their business. And they just announced it a few days ago. And this coming weekend is the first time they're going to start running it. So they said it's for 4 people, and you each have your own connection. So you each go to your own computer and use Zoom, I think it was. And then you do whatever the puzzle escape room is, and it's timed and everything. So we'll probably do that with my brother and his wife Mary this weekend.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. Some of the places that are still open for business while others are not. I don't know. Just I can understand that one being. Well, you normally don't go into them in large groups, do you?
So for escape rooms, I mean, I can see yes and no why they're closed, because you're right. Generally, you're not in a room of more than 8 people. Some of the companies, though, if they have 8 slots in an escape room, if we bring a group of 4 and other random people sign up, they can also be in there with us. So you've got that exposure, but they already quit offering that just early on in the whole outbreak situation. So they said that any room you book is going to be private. And then they also said that between every session, they go in and they clean every surface and every item you touch and everything. So, they were doing a very thorough job. but I suppose that just, the whole peer pressure, I guess, of being told to shut down, and, then the government declaring what was essential and not, just pushed them.
Yeah, that's a lot of people are having issues with that, with them coming in and saying, no, that's not important and this is, and I don't know. There's some stuff that I would think it should be up to the businesses, or I don't know.
Well, sports just got legislated as essential, so we're going to start seeing sporting events happen here soon.
Wow.
A little bit ago, while we were talking, Lisa sent me a message, because if you've seen, a lot of states are protesting right now in gigantic groups. And I said to DJ just this morning, this may show us what happens in a almost mock simulation of opening up, in the sense of all of these random people are going to be grouped together. And over the next 2 weeks, are we going to see that all of them are getting sick, or are we going to see that very few of them are getting sick? It's going to be almost a little mock trial simulation on a smaller scale. But there's also other states that don't have the order to stay at home. Like, I don't know if you're one or not. I haven't paid enough attention. Like, a few of the Midwest, I think Indiana's locked down pretty much, but like North Dakota, South Dakota, Ohio, maybe, these states are not, there's only 8 or 9 states in the United States that don't have the full stay-at-home order. And Lisa just sent me this update of, it says, a key measure of how fast the virus is growing, it's the average number of people who become infected by an infectious person. And I know that I heard this on one of the press briefings the other day too. So right now, North Dakota is number 1 in spreading the virus, because they just don't think that anything pertains to them when it comes to orders to stay at home. Ohio's next. North Dakota is between, it's almost 2 people, 1.7. So each infected person in North Dakota is apparently infecting almost 2 more.
Wow.
And then if we look at if I keep going down the chart, it goes from the highest to the lowest amount of spread. There's a bunch of them that are in the red, which would be the high spreaders. And then there's a few that are in the green, which would be 1 or less. And let's see, I mean, Oregon's in the green, Oregon's in the 1 or less. Florida, Kentucky, Arkansas, Wyoming, Missouri, Tennessee, Montana, Alaska, Michigan, Hawaii, Alabama, Colorado, and Vermont, and then Connecticut's the lowest. And that's just yesterday. This stat I'm looking at is just for yesterday. They also have last week, 2 weeks ago, and 3 weeks ago. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. And I think we are in, like, technically shut down, but it doesn't affect.
I think you guys are too.
Like, affect, yes, but not, like, we're still allowed to go to the store if we need stuff from the store. I still have to go to work every day. There's still, like, there are tons of factories around here and things that, essential workers. So, I mean, we're shut down, but nothing's changed.
No, but your brother's bar, for example, I'm sure is closed to people being there, but is he doing the takeout, the delivery?
Yes.
Is he still?
And they're doing pretty good in just the 3 days. They're just open 3 days a week now, and they're doing pretty good with that. Selling prime rib and stuff like that, but they're doing pretty good. I thought they were doing good when they were open every day. I mean.
Now let's lock you down and see if you still can.
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
Try, if you succeeded then, try now. We're going to make it tougher.
Yeah, and that's what's pissing them off everybody with the like in Michigan, where all these protests are happening all over the place. They had one person, one of the protesters that was arrested saying, well, protesting is not essential. And it's like, yeah, that's when it is essential. It's like telling the government to fuck off when they're pushing too hard is the main reason for protesting. Instead of all the cheesy ass reasons why people normally protest, where they just want to yell their opinion in your face. When it's like, everybody's got an opinion, but I don't know, this is where it's actually important. This is where it was meant to be done, where when your government's saying, hey, this is what you're going to do, and it's our job to stand up and say, no, fuck you. But while at the same time, are they actually saving lives? I don't know.
Well, I played some clips for DJ today of the TV doctors and their recent comments that got them into a lot of trouble. The Dr. Oz and Dr. Phil, and I know Dr. Drew is also pretty outspoken. They all talk about. I don't know if you've heard the comments by them or not, but
I have, because they played it on Ben Shapiro. They talked about it, but definitely Dr. Oz. There's not a thing that man would say that I would believe. If he told me my own fucking name, I'd tell him he's a liar. They know beyond any doubt that if you give that man money, he will say whatever you want him to say. He's a freaking puppet, and his credibility has been so shot for so long. Dr. Phil, I saw he got like a lot of people are mad at him just for saying the basic things that most people are saying. It's like, hey, we were at that point where, yeah, you're saving lives, but once the economy falls, like how many lives are going to be in danger because people can't afford their homes anymore? Like there's got to be something's got to give here.
It'd be interesting to see, like even a guy that we watch on a podcast, he lives in Canada, so his healthcare is covered by the government, and he's like he's so less worried. He's self-employed and he's a tech podcaster. I mean, so how essential is that? But I mean, he can still do his podcast and stuff from home, but he said, because he just recently quit a job that was big for him, and he went out on his own, and he said, the thing that makes this the easiest for me is the fact that my healthcare isn't tied to my job.
That does make sense. One of the problems that they had, though, in Italy and some of these places is that the healthcare, like right now, if I don't know, let's say my dad ends up with it and ends up in the hospital or whatever, they'll take care of my dad as long as we keep giving them money. They're saying, the government's taking care of them, and we're not going to take care of anybody over this age anymore. We're just going to let them die. And it's like, no, that's my dad. You got to take care of him. Sorry, you're not responsible for paying us anymore, so we don't care. So that's the big problem they were having over there, is just a big chunk of the population they're just giving up on because they.
Is that because they had to decide, due to lack of equipment, who they thought was going to be, I guess, in a sense, to them more beneficial in the future? Yes. So it's not, I don't think it's the money, you're not paying us, we're not going to keep them alive. It's, we don't have the equipment. And I don't know how to get them the equipment. I don't know how that works, of course, either, but
I've heard the formula on how to figure out who gets what services when they have a shortage.
There's a formula.
Yeah, it's a very complicated formula.
Wow.
But when it all boils down, you get a number, and the lower your number, the more important you are. And I think it's on the latest Freakonomics that
nice.
I have. I don't know if it's that or if it's the other one, if it's Factually by Adam Cano. But it's on one of those two podcasts. And the number, once you get to the number, that's how they determine. And it's got stuff to do with how many years you've got left to live and things like that, because they want to give the opportunity for like the most years left that you can contribute and things like that. It's not the only factor, but I mean, there's so many inputs that is just the like I said, the formula is insanely complicated. And once you get your number, if they have a shortage, that's when they start allocating things to those people.
I bet
So
it's Freakonomics.
uh-huh.
Oh, it's probably Freakonomics. Who Gets the Ventilator is the title of the episode.
Okay.
Probably.
I mean,
See,
it's
and
possible.
the thing is, like, as far as importance go, if you were to ask me if one of my parents were sick with this, there's no doubt in my mind that instead of a governor in some other city or state, my father would be more important. Now, that's because it's like, you know, how do you say it's more important? You know, it's
you're emotionally you're assigning an emotional value, and
right.
and these doctors are assigning a very generic numeric value based on nothing to do with emotion. I mean, yeah.
But I bet you if it's not about emotion, there is a whole lot of green that's directly involved with their decisions.
And the formula is specifically designed to provide people with organs. So it's designed to provide because there's an
Oh.
organ shortage. So if you need a kidney and one kidney happens to pop up, that's where the number comes in. Is you if your number is lower than somebody else and you're the two that need the kidney, your number comes up, you get the kidney and they don't. So that's what but they're starting to use that as the ventilator number too. But then whatever podcast I heard it on, and I know it sounds like it might be the Freakonomics one, but whatever podcast I heard it on, they said that they're using that for the ventilator thing, and whoever's talking with that person, they're like, but should they be? And they're like, well, that's the only thing they have to go off of right now until they figure out something else how to use it, because doctors don't like it either, but they don't know what else to do.
A first come, first serve.
There was an
I mean, that
argument.
makes sense.
There was an
Doesn't
argument
it?
for that too, but
I mean, if
then
somebody shows up and says, "Hey, I need this," and they're like, "Oh, sorry, we only have 10,000 of them in the room next door. Sorry," you know, and it's like, "No, you're here. Give it to you." And then when that 10,000's gone, patient number 10,001, then he should be like, you know, "Oh, you're out." Like, I don't know. It would make more sense to just first come, first serve.
and
And the
that
whole
argument's
and
part of the whole show too. So it's a very, like I said, the complications are innumerable in
And
this debate.
the number of ventilators that they have, you can't say, well, this many people have it, and so that's how many ventilators you have. Well, how many people died of it? Because once somebody dies, they don't need a ventilator anymore.
Exactly.
They're fucking dead. So at that point, they can reuse the ventilator.
I was speaking of reusing the ventilator. I guess I have 2 points that your comment brought up. With the way that they talk about ventilator shortages, it made me wonder, like, can they only be used once, which made no sense because of the cost.
Not only are they reusing them, but you also have multiple people on one.
And so I just asked I asked on Facebook, and I have the person who answered me happens to be, I'm married to an anesthesiologist, so that's a pretty safe answer to get. And yeah, she goes, no, they're totally reusable. I guess there's just some hoses and stuff on them that are the part that you don't reuse because of sterilization issues and stuff. But the equipment itself, which, I mean, just the way that the shortages are talked about, it just made me wonder, like, can you not reuse them?
And that I know for a fact is in whatever show. That's in the Freakonomics show where they say the ventilator shortage wasn't actually a shortage. It's all the medical locations saying we are projecting this many people needing them. This is how many we need.
Right.
And that's the whole reason for the lockdown, is to not overwhelm the hospitals.
Exactly.
So that they don't have to decide who gets the ventilator.
The entire time they've been wrong. They talk about these, in the big cities where they where they don't have enough. And while in other places, they're making videos where the entire hospital staff is doing dance numbers because they have like literally nothing to do. And I don't know if you guys ever listen to or watch Ben Shapiro, but and he has points in both directions, left and right. I mean, he kind of goes for, he's obviously more center, but yet he'll call out bullshit any way that he sees it. And, and some of the shows and stuff that I've been listening to, Crowder, they're talking about this. The news is now refusing to release anything that Trump says.
It's good.
So,
a lot of what he says is shit. I watch him every day, and it's maddening.
He says a lot of stuff that's the best he can with the information he's got. So
if he uses it, yes.
When they go back and they start saying, well, he said this and it was wrong, and he said this and it was wrong, and he said this and it was wrong. Yeah, but that's what they thought at the time. And as more information's coming in, that stuff's getting changed. And so I'm not saying he's always right, but he's also not always wrong. And the hope that he's trying to give right now, and they're only taking everything that he says, they're taking just the negative stuff, and they're putting that out into the news. And it's like, that's worse than lying, is they're giving just the negative stuff. And I don't understand why they're doing that, but some of the examples that they were giving, saying, he said this, 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 and this, but all they took was this one line that he said, and they made a headline about it, and it made the entire thing false. Did he say that? Yes, he did. But it was taken out of context, out of a huge thing that he said. And I don't know. It's they're still fear mongering.
People in the United States are looking for a leader in their president, and that man can't lead. He's too tied up in settling scores and blame that he just can't.
Now than it's ever been.
I think he dropped a ton just yesterday.
But
and no one's ever asked me for my approval rating of Trump, so it can't be accurate.
So as far as the media is going, yes, they need to stop with the whole doom and gloom because it's overblown. I don't need to hear it's
the news.
Well,
DJ?
the headline thing that Bill Maher showed us this morning. The disaster. It's the apocalypse.
Yeah. Okay, now what I see.
That's what I'm talking about.
They never said huge disaster when 9/11 happened, for example. They didn't politicize it like that.
The headlines are way out of control. They need to stop doing that. But what Donald Trump needs to do is he needs to not he should come out. He might now need to say a few words, and then he needs to let all his team talk. Just go away for these talks, because no one needs to hear any information from him, because he's got more important things to do than to tell me what's going on with the coronavirus. We need to hear from Fauci. We need to hear from Pence, because he's the leader of the coronavirus team. We need to hear from.
You're not hearing
we are, but
they're telling him, and he's telling the people.
But I'd rather hear it directly from their mouth. I don't want to hear a filter.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Speak. Yeah, they speak if they're at the press conferences.
And when he's also up there, that gives the people that don't like him in the media, the newsroom, a chance to ask him in questions that don't relate to what's actually going on. And just get him off the stage, and let's concentrate on what we're there for. So then we can take the news conference from 3.5 hours down to an hour, because we can get the information we're looking for and get the fuck off of TV.
Yeah, because most of yesterday's press conference was just him bitching about the former administration, and this and I blame that, and I don't take any responsibility, and the cupboards are bare. his references are always 50 years or older, like he's never seen the present before.
Yeah,
I
it's
think,
just
honestly, I think all in all, he's not doing a bad job. He was not my first choice. In fact, I was called racist because I voted for him. He wasn't my first choice. How the hell can I be considered racist when I was going to vote for Carson until he dropped out of it? You know, it's like, you know, I was going to vote for the black guy, but he dropped out. I voted for the white guy, and now I'm racist. I don't understand how that's even a thing. Which Biden is now being accused of raping someone, which I think that's a step up from the whole grab him by the pussy comment. But I don't know.
Well, being accused and actually doing it are two different things too.
Well, that's true.
this.
I
don't
can
know.
tell you that it says his approval rating dropped 9 points, or disapproval shot up 9 points. I don't know if that means anything different. From April 1st to the 14th. I took that from Fox News. Just so you know, it's not CNN, it's Fox News.
I don't get is that news should be news across the board. I mean, it's like fact is fact, and it should be fact no matter what. It shouldn't be this group says one thing and this group says another thing. I mean, like, fact is fact.
All right,
you have two totally different things.
Shut it down. Bob wins. This is it. We're ending on a high note. No, I'm kidding.
Okay. I was just gonna say, I like when the doctors come out because they actually give us facts and numbers and charts and graphs and
Yeah.
Because Dr. Birx is the other one. I know you said Fauci. Fauci and Birx are kind of the two doctors that come out and talk most of the time.
I only know Fauci because he's the one that comes to mind. I mean, the other doctors are just there. And yeah, so I wanted to clarify the Trump thing because it's not him being out there. It's that he's drawing other things at those news conferences to him that are unintentional side effects of him being out there. So it's not. I don't personally like him, but I mean, because he's out there, he's got 6 or 7 other people throwing things out. I mean, it's a coronavirus pandemic news conference. Why do I care what his poll numbers are at the coronavirus news conference? We can talk about that at a different news conference.
I think this is a lousy time for them to be trying another impeachment, though. I mean,
wait, they're trying another
impeachment?
I don't think
I don't know.
do
I haven't heard of any impeachment.
Oh,
But
yeah,
again, I don't watch the news. I watch the Trump press briefings, and that's it.
I don't think you can do another one. I think once it's done, it's done.
Well, it was
You
for
have to
something
come
else.
up. Yeah. You have to have new charges.
They were
It
saying
can't.
that he was incompetent with this virus thing when it started out, and it's like, you know, when he said, "Okay, we're going to block people from coming in from China," and he was called racist, and like everyone was
Xenophobic.
bashed that, and yeah, and then
Have you
and then
heard
a couple
about
later
it
saying he didn't do
supposedly?
it enough.
Have you heard about it supposedly coming from European countries in New York? Like the New York outbreak is more tied to people who came from European countries versus China?
I did not hear that.
Okay, because I've heard that a few times.
We had that one guy who was insisting that it was actually brought to China from soldiers, which they proved everything that he was saying was lies.
And I remember at the way beginning, they were even saying that some people just randomly had it. Like, you know, they hadn't traveled, they weren't in contact with places we thought it came from. Like it just came up in places. I remember that at the way beginning, but it seemed like after maybe four of those, you never really heard that anymore either. It was more about, you know, spreading it. But yeah, I don't know. 'Cause like the, you know, the nursing homes and things, how did it get? I mean, I guess of course the workers or people can travel, but it's like it popped up in a lot of those, and it, you know, took a lot of those people out. So
Yeah, they're
So
saying that most of the people that died from it would have been dead within the next 6 months, anyways. Now, that doesn't mean that 6 more months with your grandparents would have, you would prefer to have somebody die later than sooner, but I don't know. There's just take for instance when my ex-wife, her grandmother wasn't doing too good, and then she was letting me know like all the time, she's like, "Oh, she's doing better now," and it's like, she's in her 90s. She's not doing better. Just stop getting sicker now. And that's kind of where the most 99% of the people who died were in that category of, well, they could have lived an extra 3 months. Yeah, but they were also dying already. If you were going to die in the next 3 months, then you're dying right now. You're dying, and it just kind of sped that process up.
Yeah.
I have
point, you already have a will. It's.
I have a coworker whose grandmother is like 104 right now, so that was pretty
God.
neat to find out the other day.
Oh, still makes
And-
her own bread.
Yeah.
And Megan McCain's grandma is like 107 or 108, like John McCain's mother. I know she's super old, and my friend Rachel, her grandma-in-law, is that a title? Her husband's grandma is like over 100. She lives up in Washington.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And she lives alone still.
Oh my God.
I know, right?
So while I was looking, and I'm going to change the subject here completely, while I was looking for the second impeachment info, which I guess is a thing, I didn't realize that. I saw an image that made me want to ask Bob a question. Do you have Hulu?
I do. It came free with the
Disney Plus.
Disney. Yes.
Okay. Are you watching Motherland?
No, I'm doing a podcast with my friends from Oregon.
Right now? Motherland Fort Salem. Are you watching it? Have you even heard of it?
I haven't heard of it.
My God, man. You need to find it. You need to watch it. It's fucking awesome.
All right. Well, I'll talk to you later then, I guess.
After. It's an alternate history. So instead instead of the Salem witch trials going the way they did, one witch makes a deal with the witch hunters to basically fight for America and becomes the military. So witches are now the American military. Well, all witches around the world are the military. And it's the modern day, and basically you're following witches going through witch boot camp in this military. And so you don't know what's really going on when you first start out, but as the series goes on, you're learning about how this all works and what things are going on. So, we just gave it a shot.
I do believe that when I start watching it, I'm going to know what's going on. Because
cool, you can explain it to us.
It's awesome. We love it. So
in fact, we should do that. Like, how many witches do you know? We should put something together.
How many do I know? I think I know one. I think she's in North Dakota. Where'd my cat?
I think that she's talking about bitches.
Bitches.
Yeah.
And in that case, I know lots of bitches. And I'm not talking about the kind where you're like, "Hey, bitch," like is a friendly term of endearment.
Yeah.
We also watched the food that built America, I think is what it was called.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be more than 3 episodes based on the way the third one went, but they're like an hour and a half, and it follows how Hershey's chocolate started up, and Mars candy, KFC, McDonald's.
That's cool.
Birdseye
there was a
frozen
show,
vegetables.
It was like food, the history of food or something like Tootsie Rolls were made just for military. Um,
This
name of
one,
that show.
this one kind of dramatizes specific people and how they built the companies, and follows maybe a couple of specific products. But I mean, it was good.
Apparently,
Nice.
M&Ms were introduced for what, World War II? Did
I
they
wanna
go to the
s-
military? Like
Yeah.
the United States didn't know M&Ms existed until the war was over, because the military had been eating. They had just a strict contract with supplying the military with M&Ms.
Yes.
Or
You can buy M&Ms in 40-pound bags of any color you want.
Nice.
well, these looked more like toilet paper rolls, like that were printed with M&M packaging on the outside that were scooped full. But or Mr. Goodbar, the chocolate with peanuts in it, was introduced as a during the Great Depression as a protein packed source of or a source of protein. So if you couldn't afford something to eat, you should eat chocolate with peanuts in it,
Yeah.
because that's a better meal than nothing. And they made
Yeah.
it like you got 2 for the price of 1 Hershey's candy bar normally, so that people could afford it. But yeah, it was a really interesting series.
That's
And
pretty
like
cool.
and what's really funny is they'll show you oh, my hummingbird's coming. Just heard him chirp. They'll show you cornflakes, and then they'll be like, and so and so was at the, what is sanatorium, is that the right
Yeah.
word?
Sanatorium.
So and so post was at the Kellogg's sanatorium and stole his ideas, and now we have post brand cereals and stuff. Or when they talk about the McDonald's, they're like, and this is the founder of Taco Bell. This is the founder of Burger King. So yeah, it's pretty good.
I'm on the M&M site right now. You can get any
yeah?
color you want, not just the ones that are available. You can get a 40-pound bag of black or like any color that you want. But you can also put clip art on there, or text, or even like take a
Oh
picture
yeah.
and have that put on M&Ms. It's really kind of neat, some of the stuff you can put on there.
I don't know that I want to eat my own face.
And if you put mine on them, I don't know if that's something that I should thank you for. Like,
Yeah, I don't know about that
thank you
either.
for putting my face.
There's worse things you're gonna put on there. And it's like,
Yeah.
dick. What? I just offer you some candy. Look, there's
Why did
I
you get a
remember.
bag full of M&Ms with dicks on them? Why not?
just take it out to people.
I remember in Bismarck we had this party supply store, and they had this big display of M&Ms, and they had all pastels especially. So they had a bunch of different colored M&Ms all divided up that you could come and buy for, like wedding favors or graduation in the right colors that you needed. I remember seeing those.
Not my debit card.
Mm.
It's the old one. But Tricia, I don't know if you saw this when I showed DJ earlier, but I have a thing. So this is
Hold it to your right a little bit further.
oh,
There
it
we
is.
go. Oh, no.
Okay.
No. Little. So the screen split. There we go. I can see it now. It's a V.
It's V.
Oh, is it for the wax?
For wax, yeah, you can put wax seals on stuff. Is a
Is
V.
it for beeswax?
It totally can be.
Wait,
Nice.
you didn't put the right emphasis on that. It totally can be.
Oh God.
Wow.
There's a stationery store kind of near us, and it's in a suburb area. And I know that when I shopped there one time, they had all kinds of those little, they were way smaller though. Yours looks like maybe the size of a quarter.
Yes.
Okay. These were more like smaller than a dime. And it was just like an initial or a tiny little shape, but they had the little metal press, and then they also had sticks of different colored wax that you could buy to make the seals with.
Yeah. I've seen, I didn't get any of the sticks, but I did get the, their little beads of wax.
Oh, okay.
So it hasn't arrived yet, but I got the little stand that you put your ladle in, and then you put the wax in the ladle, and then you put a candle underneath of it, and it melts it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, cool. I think the sticks that I saw almost had like a wick on the end, like a candle, and then you just kind of light it and you'd let it drip onto the paper when you were going to
And I
put the seal.
and I know the sticks, you have to be careful because if you hold it too long in the flame, it can burn, and then you've got stinky wax on your on your envelope. So
You know, that's another thing that I had. I had bought from some sort of, I don't remember what store it was. When we were in Mississippi, I bought dripping candles, and I had a lot of them.
You still have
And
them?
no, I don't. Those are long gone. But I had a bracket on the wall, and I would put these candles there, and they would drip. And I had a board on the floor that was catching the puddles, so it was making like the stalagmite, stalactite type thing where these were dripping
Ah,
down, up, and I'm just watching it. I would watch it forever, and he just kept saying, "Will you leave the damn candles alone? Leave the Bob, sit down, sit down." And then one day I walk in, and he's just sitting there staring at the candle. And he's like, "Bob, I think I understand now." And it's
oh
like
my God.
they were really fast melting candles.
They were fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Did they have like rainbow colors and stuff inside for when the
Yeah.
wax dripped?
Some of them did.
Were they? You know what? I actually have a couple of those, but they're not the slow, or they're not the fast melting ones like that was. It was a real soft wax. So like when you lit it, the whole candle, which was probably, I don't know, 4 to 6 inches long, and you're looking at about 15-minute burn. 15
Wow.
minutes or half hour or something like that. I mean, it was really quick. I think they were actually meant for spells and stuff. Where you can carve stuff onto it, put your oils on it, make your wish, and light the candle.
I remember that we bought a skull candle holder, and we melted a shit ton of that wax all over it. And at first it looked really cool, and we had melted so much wax over it, we couldn't see the skull anymore. And you were really sad because we had all this cool wax, and we couldn't see the candle holder.
Oh,
And we
boy.
tried to remove it from the shelf it was sitting on, but we couldn't because it was melted to the shelf.
We had wax everywhere.
Yes, we did. It was great.
Yeah. We had wax everywhere, and we also had the fluorescent markers drawn on everything, because we would like light up the chem lights and black lights and everything, and of course the chem lights we would cut open and splash that shit everywhere.
Oh, like glow sticks? Are glow sticks and chem lights about the same thing? But
they are the same thing.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Just size, your military versus civilian or whatever.
The difference is whether or not they come in fun colors.
Yes.
I mean, I'm guessing all the military ones are the same color.
Almost.
I had a couple different ones. I guess the big difference is whether or not you paid for them yourself, or if the taxpayers paid for them. All of the ones we had, the taxpayers paid for them.
Yeah. That's funny.
Most of them were green, but I think in the warehouse there was
yellowish green.
Yeah, there was a greeny yellow, and I think there was one box of red ones. and they were for something very specific. And I knew that that box could not be touched because whatever it was for, um, the
Explosive
supply,
road flares.
no, the supply, the supply officer knew that there was one box of them, and if that box went missing, there was going to be some sort of massive investigation because they needed to have that in stock for whatever they were for. And I don't remember what they were
Hmm.
for, but I
That
remember
might
knowing what they were for.
that might have been a effects thing, because I know the red light allowed you to read the maps and stuff without showing your position. So if it was a red glow,
Oh,
I don't know.
I don't remember using red ones out in Fex though.
you weren't important enough.
I was a communicator. I had to be in a place where
Oh
I could
my,
use communications.
oh my God, you were a communicator?
I was important
Man, those
personnel.
poor people.
Hey, I knew my shit. I knew my shit out there.
There you go. You finished it with out there.
So
Oh,
every year we would all get our assignments, and headquarters company always got to do different, we always got moved around all the time. And every year I'd be like, oh, where do I get assigned to this year? And they would give me my assignment. Communications. Where do I get to go to this year? Communications. Where do I get to go to this year?
it's like when I volunteer for the Comic-Cons and I get assigned to photo ops every time.
So I asked one year after they brought out the assignments. It's the S3 that puts it out, so the operations officer. I went up and I asked. Commander Blunt was the one at the time, and I asked Commander Blunt, Commander, can I have a moment of your time? He's like, sure. I'm like, this is my last year doing a field exercise. Why am I always in the communications department? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, this is my fourth field exercise. We didn't have one last year. I have been in the communications department every single time. I would like to do something else. And he's like, well, everything else is kind of full. And I'm like, oh, man.
Well, you trade.
Like,
I mean,
the name like Blunt, he had to have said it like, yeah, man, we need.
No, he was pretty straightforward, and he was a nice guy too. But I mean, he's like, I mean, so he explained a couple of people that he could have moved around, but that they needed to be where they were at because of what they did. And then because of one guy that he had mentioned was also a grenadier. I'm like, I'm a grenadier. He's like, are you? I'm like, absolutely I am. He's like, okay. So he's like, I'll get back to you. And he knew that I was cutting hair downstairs or whatever. So I went downstairs and I'm doing all the haircutty stuff. And he comes down and he's like, well, it's a little different, but it's still communications. And I'm like, what is it? So I ended up being the guy who helped bring out replacement communications equipment to the front line instead of just sitting in a tent all the time. So I'm like, well, it's different than what I was doing, so I'm okay with that. Wow. And there were two people that did that, and both of us were grenadiers. And then we followed basically a guy that thank God I wasn't the guy that had to carry all the equipment. I was the one that carried the grenade launcher to make sure that the guy that carried all the equipment didn't get shot, quote unquote. So while you guys were sitting in the foxholes, we crawled out there to the communicator, because I know there was a communicator and then several of you foxhole guys. We crawled out there. We helped replace the equipment if it was broken or whatever. And I mean, it was just a simulation in futility, because it's like, is anything broken? No, I've been sitting out here in the rain doing nothing. Okay, well, that's great. Good job. And every single time I made a run, no rain. It was great. And every single time the other guy made a run, pouring, absolutely pouring. And he wanted to switch with me. So we switched to complete 12-hour shifts. I stayed up for 24 straight hours for this. I think it was a 5-day exercise, the last one I did. Completely switched. I stayed up for 24 straight hours. The cycle switched. Completely rained on him on my old cycle. He's like, God damn it, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. I'm like, I can't do it again, man. I can't do it. So I got stuck in communications the whole time. Really sucked ass.
I enjoyed the fexes though. I got a lot of enjoyment out of that. As long as you didn't have people taking it too seriously. But I mean, we were there to learn, but we smuggled alcohol and
more stories of how safe I should feel with our military.
Well, they start out the field exercise every time. So a CB unit is always building things. So we're always behind a large contingent of Marines. So they would always say, we're going to simulate as if all the Marines are gone. And I literally, at one field exercise, raised my hand, and they're like, Alan? And I'm like, if all the Marines are gone, I'm going that way. And I pointed opposite of the front line, and everybody laughed. And he's like, okay, yeah, chuckle. And I'm like, because what am I going to do if they've gone through battalions of Marines?
Right?
Yeah. Well, they just haha. So okay. But I mean, yeah. My favorite my favorite FEX experience was me playing the bad guy.
Aggressor?
Got to do that once.
I never did that.
And every time it came up after that, I volunteered immediately, and they never let me go back out and do it. So sad about that.
We did do some cool stuff out there. We had they had the one day where they had a range. They had the pop-up targets. I think that was during FEX. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm thinking that was during FEX. And we had the old top sergeant out there, and man, this is awesome. I might have told you this already. It's got the pop-up targets, and I'm just having fun. It's like a damn video game. I'm just popping them, and it's like bam, bam, bam. It's like, it was fun. I'm just doing my thing. And then the guy who was standing there next to me says, holy shit, man, I've never seen anybody shoot so good before, or something along those lines. Next thing I know, I'm like, that's cool. I put my next magazine in, and I missed. And I pull one up and I missed. And I'm just all of a sudden, now I can't hit a damn thing. So then we go over there, and old top sergeant, he says, who the hell was on line 9? And I says, I was, Tops. What the fuck happened to you? I'm like, what do you mean, Top? He says, you got 19 out of 20. And then you got 4.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I was 19 out of 20. I didn't know how many I hit. I'm just having fun. And then the dude said that, just made me all nervous and shit.
The last range that I went to, the first gunny I was there with left, and the second gunny that was there. He's probably the same top sergeant you're talking about, but he was only a gunny when I was there. We got the assignment of everybody that was going to range. Hi, puppy. And all of us that were grenadiers that had the grenade launchers.
That's what grenadier means. Yeah. I had no idea.
We never got to take our grenade launcher attachments out to range. We always had to use an alternate M16. So we saw the roster, and all of us that are grenadiers were looking at each other going, God, because there was like a shit ton of us, like 8. And we never had that many out at the same range before. Huh. And we're like, oh, damn it. Do they have enough rifles for all of us? And we were like, we're probably going to have to swap, because, I knew the armory had a limited number of alternate rifles. And I made the comment, I'm like, I would just like to shoot with mine.
Yeah.
There's a couple of mutterings, and they're like, well, somebody else said, well, maybe Gunny we can get Gunny to let us do it. And we decided as a group to go up and talk to Gunny. So we talked to Gunny, and we're like, Gunny, it literally makes no sense for any of us to qualify with M16s that aren't ours because we have the attachment on our rifles. If we go to war and I qualify on a rifle that doesn't have the grenade launcher, what good does that do you if I'm defending you? And he's like, you all make a valid point. So he left his office for a second. We were all very confused by that. And he comes back and goes, you're all taking your own weapons out to range. And we're like, are you serious? He's like, yep. Now, some of the guys that when we got out to range carrying our heavy M203s out there, were like, oh God, I wish I'd have kept my mouth shut. And I was like, this is the shit. That was the best range I ever had.
Did you ever get a chance to shoot the grenades?
Oh yeah. When we got them, whenever you became a grenadier, you had to go to familiarization training. So I only ever got to shoot them during that familiarization training. But you got to, it was a week training. So, I mean, you got to go out and launch grenades for like 5 days. It was awesome. And you went out with the guys that had the shoulder-mounted rocket launchers.
Mm-hmm.
So Ivy was one of those. So so Ivy was one of those because those guys were also the mortar teams. So the mortar people also had to go out for that. So
yeah, I never saw Ivy do anything other than selling stuff. Like he got to go and get like cigarettes and candy bars and stuff, and that's all I ever seen him do.
He also had to be trained because he got assigned to one of the mortar teams. So while the mortar people were shooting the rocket launchers and mortars, all the grenadiers were watching them. And then while we were all shooting our grenades, all the mortar and grenade launcher people were watching us. So we were we were doing that back and forth. So I mean, basically half your day you were either shooting or you were watching others shoot. The best thing was everybody was all so the first rocket launcher was getting set up, and we were all, a bunch of people were just kind of all spread out behind this thing. And Gunny looks back as the rocket launcher's getting put on the guy's shoulder, and it was a pretty big piece of equipment. And then Gunny turns around and looks at like the 6 people directly behind the guy, and he goes, "Do you all want to die?" And the guys are looking at each other, and he goes, "You might want to move out of the way." And they moved quick. So they moved over, and they only moved over like 12 feet. And he's like, "Do you still want to die?" So we all got, they had to move over so far, so we all basically moved off of there was like a raised platform of dirt. We all had to get completely off to the side of that raised platform of dirt. And there was a wooden wall behind that platform, basically for the back blast. We thought it was painted black, silly us. When that rocket launched, the back blast hit that full on and ballooned out a little bit as the rocket shot out and hit whatever they were shooting at out on the range.
Wow.
Yeah, we were all like, "Hey, aren't you glad you weren't standing there now?"
No doubt.
The smallest guy that had to use the rocket launcher, they had somebody else helping him hold it because Gunny said he wouldn't have been able to do it. He'd have fallen over, and the rocket would have gone wherever. He's like, I want you to hold it so that you understand what you're dealing with, but so and so's going to be bracing you behind you, just so you know.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Cat,
So I
why do
did
you need to go inside?
I cracked into my sauerkraut that I was making today because I got another week to go with it yet. But they said that after a week you should crack it open and taste it and make sure it's still, there and everything. So
Make sure it's still sour and gross.
yes, exactly.
Well, my question is, how do you get an angry German into a jar?
Oh God.
It all depends on how small you dice them.
Oh.
And then,
Neither one of us like sauerkraut. It's gross.
And
it's such a North Dakota food too.
I put it on some stuff, and it's not my favorite thing, but it's also like crazy good for you. It gets you all the stuff you need in your gut. And then the other thing that I made then was the yogurt cheese. I put it back into its container, but so I got all the way out of it, and then I used a lot of it today. I put garlic and oregano in there, quite a bit of both, so it's a really good spread. And it so today for my lunch when I came home, this was crazy good. I was trying to figure out how to use this stuff. I got chicken. It's like chicken chunks, fully cooked chicken chunks, in a can, which is what most people call food. But it's not. It's just it's pretty good. So I'm like, well, how can I use this to make something that's like keto friendly? Because I'm down 62 pounds now from what I was just a few months ago. So
nice.
The last time we talked to you, it was 60. So you've even lost 2 since then.
Yeah. So I strained all the water out of it and I mix it with salsa, and then I put that into a bowl with some of that yogurt cheese that I got. I put a little bit of that on top of it, and then cheddar cheese, and then I nuked it. And then I lost my coffee.
Here, I'll share mine with you. I got some here.
Oh, yay. But yeah, it was good. I was happy with my meal.
With the yogurt cheese that you made, the yogurt that you started off with, was it Greek yogurt or was it just? It was Greek. Okay.
Yogurt. Yep.
Because if you would have started with regular, you would have had even less after straining it, because the regular yogurt has so much more moisture in it.
Yeah. The first time I did that, it was a different brand. It was still the Greek, with all the cultures and everything. But I was amazed. Like the last time it came out, I poured it out. This one here, I had to use a spatula to get out. But the first one, I mean, it poured out. It was like very, very, very liquidier.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, whatever word you use is a word now.
Liquidier. Damn it, dog. You know what, dog? I'm going to wait till you start doing a podcast, and I'm going to start making so much noise.
Well, I'm sitting outside with my cat, and she continuously wants to go in. I just let her in. She's in the house now. She climbed up on the couch, and she's going to go to sleep. And I'm sitting outside. Yeah. Oh, no, she's off the couch, and she's coming back to the door. And now she's going to stare at me until I let her out.
Wow.
I'm getting a little angry. I had somebody was wanting, they discussed on that Neighbor app about getting rid of a stack of National Geographics. So somebody said, oh, yes, I want them. And then there was like a couple different people that were saying that they wanted them and everything. Sorry, they're already taken. So I said, hey, I've got some. I have like 2 years worth minus like 3 issues. So it's like, I am offering them up to you. You can have them. And so she says, okay, well, when can I tell my kid that he can come over? And, I said, anytime before 8. And then he didn't show up. And so then she asked me again, hey, when would be a good time? And it's like, sorry, I just got that message, today, when would be a good time? And I keep saying like, hey, this would be a good time, any time after 3 or any time before 8 or whatever. And it's like, so I'm sure she's again and say, hey, sorry, I didn't get that. So, okay, so once you set up something, you're supposed to
pay
show
attention.
I'd be better off just throwing them in the damn garbage. It was just one of those things that are sitting out there. And the only reason I'm offering them up is because I was going to get rid of them anyways. But,
and you saw that some people were interested, so you thought you'd help them out.
Yeah.
Well, I've got this motto, Bob, and this motto is, no good deed goes unpunished.
And that's true.
So
Yeah,
you
I'm a nice
wanted to
guy.
do something
That means
nice for somebody, and it's just blowing up in your face.
I'm a nice guy. That means I get fucked at the drive-through. That was a
Whoa.
little, not literally. Leo Getz said that. Remember
I mean, where's this drive-through and how much does it cost?
that? Have you seen Idiocracy?
Yes.
You're way back.
So I can go to Starbucks and get a hand job? That's what you're saying?
It's on the value menu.
Oh, I think I just heard a cat.
She's sitting in front of the door.
Oh, okay.
She's like looking like she's gonna sleep in front of the door on the inside, not the outside.
Hey, Bob,
Yeah.
do you collect comics still?
I have not collected any comics in a while now because it was about every 2 or 3 months I'd make it over there and get my pull list. And I went there the one time and it'd only been about a month. And I said, I'm here to pick up something from Yado. And they said, oh, we put all that stuff back on the shelf. It's been like a month since you've been here. I'm like, yeah. I said, normally I'm here every 2 to 3 months. I said, it's never been an issue before. They're like, yeah, but you haven't been here in a month. I'm like, yes, I understand that. And I said, you know what? I said, cancel it. I said, I'm sick of this shit. Just cancel it. And they're like, oh, yeah, we did already because you haven't been here in a month.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh. And I haven't been back there since.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was soft about that. It's like I live in Warsaw. I live 45 minutes away. I'm not going to come here every weekend. So I'd go a week or so or a month or so. Anytime I happen to be in town, I'd stop by there and I'd get my pull list. And they don't want my money. Fuck them.
I'm going to offer up you an opportunity to do online shopping, and I'm going to give a free plug to a website here, dcbservice.com.
Key CBDB CBB.
No, DCB Service, which is discountcomicbookservice.com.
All right, I am at the site.
They give you discounts on all of your you have to pre-order everything, but they'll ship you comics. Now, during the pandemic, it's a little bit weird because they're also not getting their shipments, but they'll ship you comics and they're super reliable and they are actually super affordable. So if you're getting like your DC stuff, because they have so much DC stuff that they're ordering for other people, you'll get discounts on that stuff because they're ordering in bulk for other people also. So it's a great service. I'm not getting physical copies anymore, so I'm not using them, but when I was using them, they were great. So it's and if let's say you order a bunch of stuff and then right before the month's over, or maybe the pre-orders come down and you're like, oh shit, I forgot to add Batman. If you email them and say, I forgot to add Batman to my order, can you add that for me? They'll do it.
Nice.
Yeah. So I mean, they're super accommodating. Like I recently ordered each issue of a Cobra Kai comic that came out. I'm still waiting on issues 3 and 4, but I emailed them and I said I haven't gotten issues 3 and 4. What's going on? And then they wrote back and they said, well, the issues 3 and 4 haven't shipped to us and we're not sure what's going on. And then they emailed again without me prompting them, saying the distributor, which is Diamond, is not shipping anything to us, so we're not sure what's going on at this point. And we'll ship things out when we get them, but we wanted to keep you informed. And like, holy crap, you guys are still fucking awesome. Yeah. So if you would like to continue purchasing, and it'll be cheaper for you to do the same pull list you were doing before, that's your place.
And there was one of them I decided to take. I don't remember which one it was. The Superman one, but not Superman. What was the
Action?
Superman? Action, yeah. where I had gotten rid of Action, but I was kind of going back and getting them from the dollar bin, right? And it's like, I liked the Action, but it was also I didn't really have time to read a whole lot. I really don't have a whole lot of time. Usually about 5 or 6 hours from the time I get home to the time I have to go to work, usually closer to 5. No, from the time I get home and the time I have to go to sleep. I haven't been reading much. I've been getting a lot done around the house, but I did like the Lock and Key series. Have you guys watched any of that on Netflix then?
We're done
we
with
watched-
season 1.
Yep.
I do want to see that. The other one you mentioned, the Cobra Kai, which is available on
YouTube.
But you have to have the YouTube extra in order to see it all.
Some sort of
So
subscription.
you were able to see a couple episodes, and then there'd be like an episode that you couldn't see, and then another one you could, and then 2 more that you couldn't. And it's like, oh, I'm not going to watch it like that. So I want to see it, but they don't have it available anywhere other than buying the damn subscription.
Yeah. Yeah, there's that.
I turned my camera here because by this right here, you might see a hummingbird eat once in a while. Oh, can you see? I guess it's on my screen. I don't know if it's on your guys' screens.
Yes.
I can only see up to your shoulder on mine.
Okay.
I see it.
It's behind my head right now, so if you don't see my head.
Oh, okay. There we go. Now I
Okay.
can see it. In
So,
order to see that, I had to make you smaller over here to where we have the double screen on this side. Now DJ's a full screen over here.
All right.
And I have no idea what this is going to look like in post, so everybody's wondering what the hell we're doing. This is funny. This is great stuff. This is high quality.
Those hummingbirds are very persistent if they don't have food.
Yeah,
It's amazing how territorial and pushy they are, and they're fearless. I was sitting right underneath the tree one day, and they were still coming and eating, even though I was right there. So he told me earlier that it was empty, so I refilled it for them today.
Gotcha.
Oh. So, how did your interview go the other day? Yesterday?
With the person that I was going to have it with?
So he didn't show?
No, that's tomorrow.
Oh.
I don't want to say the name yet because that's tomorrow.
Gotcha.
No. Yesterday was my Vampire the Masquerade session.
That's right.
Yeah. So that'll date the session, but I mean nobody's heard any of the episodes yet, so they don't even know that that's happening in the background at the moment.
That's good.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else was the thing? Oh yeah, I tried to set up an account for the to get my own domain name with my name as my domain name. Yeah.
There you go.
So
yours has to be pretty unique to get.
Well, nobody's got it so far. I'm just going with the WordPress thing, and I don't know. I'm just trying stuff.
So like bobmiato.wordpress.com, like that?
Yeah, that's one of the ones that was available. There's the WordPress, or you can also do the .com, or you can like the WordPress is free. The .com was like $18 a month.
Right.
But so I mean, I guess it's possible that I can get the WordPress one for free, and then somebody else, probably somebody named Jimmy or something, would get the .com version of my name.
When are you pulling the trigger on that?
I don't know. I wanted to make sure I was doing stuff right before.
I'm pretty sure my name is a domain for somebody who's a photographer.
So, because if we do actually have viewers/listeners, I don't want to put this out and then have you lose out because someone wants to go out and take this out from under you.
Right. If they did, it'd be like, oh, fuck it. I guess I just don't have enough. But
never mind. That's not very
No.
entertaining.
No,
Oops.
it's all right.
Let's see.
We got the gist.
I guess I could pull the trigger now.
You don't have anywhere to host it though.
WordPress.
I mean, you can, right, but to host, well, okay, yeah, if he buys the .com, he can own it, but his domain to go to his page is still going to be his name.wordpress.com.
Yeah.
Unless he pays WordPress to host with just the .com. Sorry, no, we're just arguing about your domain. Go ahead, do what you want.
And like I said, I haven't really, I'm not doing anything to where I need my own, but like it was suggested on there that it doesn't hurt to have your own, because then if you do decide to do something down the line, you've got it. But I would hate to be, I'm not going to be paying no $18 a month just in case I decide to do something years from now.
Yeah.
Right. You can buy the domain and host and own it on a yearly basis and just not do anything with it, but pay that on a yearly basis. But right, until you actually want to build something, you can just hang on to it. If I had my maiden name, I think I could get my name as a website, because pretty sure both my dad and my brother have their names as domains, and my current name's too popular. And also, I had my website hosted by GoDaddy, and then I was redirecting to my website that I built through Square, because Square, the money service, not Squarespace, but Square to swipe your cards through. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
or do you know what I'm talking about? Okay. So I had a website on Square, and GoDaddy was supposed to redirect, but they suck at it. So I eventually just I started paying too, just to get Square to host it as well. So now it all works again.
Cool. Hey, I'm not sure on how a lot of that stuff works, or like any of that stuff. I don't know how any of that stuff works. I would like to do the podcasting thing, and just have stuff. And I figured if I had it and DJ's got something, we can like link each other's, where I could say, hey, check out his, and you could be like, hey, check out his, and we'll both be getting, checked out.
Yeah. And we can discuss like storage options, because I know that SoundCloud recently started allowing you to use SoundCloud as a storage place for podcasts. So like you can use that as your feed, and I didn't know that was possible up until just recently. So I have to investigate that as an option. But I mean, yeah, because the big problem with podcasts is always, where the hell do you host all the files themselves? Because everybody always has the problem of, I reached my host limit, now I have to buy the next tier because I want all of my episodes to be available still. And my particular situation, we have a server that I can use, so I don't have a hosting fee, and I can have all of my podcasts available all the time because I have a server. So I mean, I know not everybody's in that situation, and we could probably extend that to you if we can't figure out something that works otherwise that way. We'll figure something out.
Cool. Yeah, I don't know anything about any of this, so it's like, and like I was saying, I was having the one that I'm wanting to do is the game one, just doing the game, so it's not going to be long drawn out discussions about stuff, just a particular game per episode, and then there'll be My guess is two different types. Well, one being here's what the game is, this is how it's played and stuff, while the other one is we're going to sit down and we're going to play this game, or at least part of it, enough of it so you can like see what it is. But I don't know. It's work in progress. I totally want to do a supernaturally one. So I think that'd be cool. Ghosty pods. Ghost pods. Pods of ghosts.
You
How
add
many-
those to your washing machine so that your clothes come out whiter?
I could try that.
I mean, with ghost pods, it sounds like they could even come out clear, like see-through.
Yeah.
Mm.
Transdimensional.
So all of a sudden probably in the last 2 or 3 weeks now, I've had a gigantic run on my little wheatgrass kits. So that's what I've been crocheting this whole time. Last night, I think somebody ordered 4 of them and then 3 refill bags of seeds. Yeah, so all of a sudden I've got lots of people wanting to grow wheatgrass at home. You know,
And
'cause
you do
everyone's
that
stuck at
like
home. Yeah, I've done how many now since, let's see, those 3, I think. I think I did these 3.
since you've been sitting.
Yeah, at least.
Wow.
Maybe I don't think I did this blue-green one. I think that one was done before. But yeah, I've honed my skill so that I'm a little bit quicker than I used to be. And then I have these little wooden buttons that I sew on them for my advertising. But I need a yellow one, and this one, and this one, and this one, and this one, and
So-
another purple one.
So she is always doing something at all times, and I want to let everybody know that when she's being bad or mean to me, to punish her, I don't let her do anything extra. She has to do one thing at a time. And if we're watching TV, she is squirmy because she needs to do something else while we're watching TV, but I don't let her do anything. So she really hates it when she can only just watch TV.
Yeah, but how
Yeah.
fast she's doing it, it's like, okay,
She just started a new one right there.
what, are you on the ground floor there, or are you up a bit?
DJ's up. I'm on the ground floor.
Yeah, my podcast
Okay.
studio's on second floor.
If you're on the second floor or a third floor, fifth, it doesn't matter. If all of a sudden there was a fire and you need to get out, she could totally like crochet a ladder that, while your place is burning, allowing you to get to safety.
Yeah.
I mean, that's possible. Yeah.
It'll look pretty, but will it hold our weight? Ah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I
See,
lost
we've
count.
screwed up her
Yeah.
counting.
Yep, I got to get to 13, and then I don't have to count anymore.
Bob is enraptured.
Yeah, I find that totally amazing.
Yeah, it's it definitely entertains people to watch crocheting. Apparently there's channels of like I suppose YouTube or something where people, like groups of women, get together and knit or crochet, and then they just film it. Oh, my Hummer's here. See him? You can see a little bit of fluttering
Yep.
right over by the
Yeah.
feeder.
Nice.
I hear him when he shows up because you can hear his wings. It sounds like, like a 20-pound wasp or bee coming at you, and it kind of freaked me out at first until I realized it was just a hummingbird.
So the videos I watch with groups of women, they're
not crocheting.
No.
That's hilarious.
I never saw a guy knit or crochet until moving out here. I mean, I know that you also do this, but I never saw anybody in North Dakota, any male, knit or crochet there.
I tried, and I tried that one too, the crocheting.
Crochet,
And
yeah,
it seemed a little easier,
it is.
but currently I don't have
The hook.
the hook. Yes, because ex-wife took everything.
Oh.
But I'm gonna go ahead and order me one.
Well,
I'm gonna
I
have it on
was
you.
gonna say, I hope you kept all the yarn.
I do have two things of yarn. I have a red one that was mine, and I have a one that was a mixed greens, like a camouflagey one.
There you go.
Those are both mine.
I have camouflage.
Yeah.
It's
Would you please, for the love of God, shut the fuck up? Not you guys.
What?
Sorry.
No, you're talking directly to me.
What?
yeah. See, I only sell these little kits for $5, so I have to be quick to make them. Otherwise,
Hi,
I really
Jojo.
don't make any money.
Hi, Jojo.
What do you want to say to us, puppy?
Hi, Jojo. Hello, Jojo.
Hi,
Hi.
Say
Hi,
hi.
Jojo.
Jojo.
Hi, Jojo.
Puppy.
Look at this.
Hi, Jojo. Hi. Jojo. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Who's
that's
a good
funny.
dog? Who's a good dog?
She drives me nuts, but she's a good puppy.
And to all of our audio listeners, that's what kind of things you're missing is good puppies and crocheting.
So right now, all of the dogs of the world are thrilled to death to have their owners home all day, and all the cats are like, "Why are you still here?
Yeah.
Why are you in my spot?"
My
Your nap's
favorite
there.
meme that I've seen so far is a dog up on top of a kitchen cabinet and going, "No, we've already been on 20 walks. I'm done. I'm done."
Yeah, standing up on the
Yeah.
on top of the upper cabinet of the kitchen,
We've
not
already
just
been
the
on 20
counter.
walks today. I'm done.
That's funny. I want to take her. She hasn't been out in I think all week here because we had a couple days it was pretty cold, and then I have 3 days now where I'm fucking holding because somebody said they're going to come over and get these damn books, and so it's like, all right, I'm going to come home, and
Can you put them on your porch, like in a bag, and
Yeah, there you go.
know, like leave them out during the day if you're home, but bring them back in overnight or when you're working?
Take a picture and say, "This is the bag you're looking for," and then every day move them a little closer to the garbage.
Yeah. I mean, it's frustrating because it's like if they need me to drop it off somewhere, I'll do that. Just fucking. She'll
Yeah.
ask the question, "Hey, when can I get these?" Today, this time. Hello?
And then, sorry,
Yeah,
I
it's
didn't
like-
check my messages until the next day.
Yeah.
So stupid. So very
If
stupid.
I ask somebody something, I look for the damn answer. Like,
Right.
Jojo, get away from the damn door. Stop it. Go away. Go lay down or something.
Yeah.
Yes, it's like, I don't know. Well, now that it's cloudy out, it's cold here again too. It was warmer earlier.
Yeah, I was amazed.
61 degrees.
A couple beautiful days, followed by a whole bunch of snow, and back to being a beautiful day. Was this?
I have to say I love when your phone buzzes because your face is fine, but all the stuff around your face vibrates into a little a little sea of lines.
Yeah, that was a news report popped up saying that a woman gave birth in a car wreck or something.
Ah.
It went away before I could finish reading it.
The only news report I've gotten recently is at least 9 people, including an officer, were killed in a shooting rampage in Canada. The gunman is dead. Nova
I
Scotia.
saw that one pop up, but I didn't get a chance to read it before it went away.
Yeah, it's like 5 minutes ago. And that's I haven't clicked on the story, but they're getting restless.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's got to be tough to find a crowd these days, to pull off a mass shooting. I mean,
yeah, and I don't know. You don't really hear about a lot of them in Canada, do you?
not so much. No. No, definitely the U.S. is the hot spot for that, it seems. I know that I saw an article the other day that said March is the first month since like 2002 or 3, something very early in the 2000s, the first month that there hasn't been a school shooting. I mean, well, yeah, I mean, well, some schools, I guess, are still going, aren't they? I keep forgetting that. Because schools in Oregon have been closed for, I don't know, over a month already. But I don't know. I just thought that was an odd statistic.
Yeah, and the numbers are weird with that. Like,
because there's definitions to what actually constitutes a true school shooting versus.
yes, somebody
right.
who did suicide in the parking lot of an abandoned school, they counted as a school shooting. One of the officers had a gun go off and shot himself in the foot, and they counted that as a school shooting. And like, there's so many things like that they're counting, like a gunshot in the parking lot where nobody's hit, nobody's is counting as a school shooting, and it's
definitely misleading.
Very much so. And again, that's kind of one of my big problems when it comes to the news. It's like they're saying it's fact, and it's like your fact and my fact is 2 different things.
Here, let me show you a great headline that I saw on Facebook today. I have to find this. Now, this is about, oh wait, wrong name. I'm typing in her sister's name. That's not going to bring up her account. So just remember, this is in a North Dakota lake. Okay. Let me think. The North Dakota, oh, come on. So can you read that, DJ?
As North Dakota quarantines over COVID-19, majestic humpback whales return to Lake Sakakawea. I just want you to note that Lake Sakakawea is not deep enough for humpback whales.
It's not deep enough. It's not connected by waterways to an ocean.
No.
I mean, there's just all kinds of there's all kinds of things. It's like from a site like The Onion.
Yeah.
That one made me laugh today.
I heard a podcast recently that says The Onion must be having a real hard time these days because the headlines are almost Onion-like.
Right.
Yeah, they're crazy.
Oh, I have to go find a food thing that I have to show you, Bob. I think it's something that you can totally eat. That's keto friendly. Hi, Kitty.
I'm enjoying the hell out of this diet, though. Don't get me wrong, I still miss my junk food, but I'm doing all right.
I just need to introduce exercise, and I think I've figured out some exercises to get my heart rate going, which is the problem is I don't have any heart rate things because of my hip. I can't use my legs for a lot. So I think I figured out something to get my heart rate going. And then once I do that, I can hopefully start losing more weight. Oh, here we go.
So they look kind of like croutons, but they're just cheese. Well, and they crunch. They feel like croutons. And so these are Parmesan. These are Asiago. These are open. I'm nowhere near DJ.
Here is a review from DJ Allen. They're fucking amazing.
They're tiny.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're just cheese, baked crunchy cheese.
So you chew them and they're crunchy and you get like a cheese flavor and then you're like, oh, these are pretty good. And then once it kind of breaks down a little bit and it gets moist, then you get like a second wave of cheese flavor in your mouth and you're like, oh my God. And that's when you're like, this is fucking amazing.
That's cool.
They're great.
I'll have to get some of those.
There's a salad place we ordered from that had something similar to them, and we ordered them because we didn't know what they were, and that's where we discovered that this is wonderful and amazing.
And then we went to the grocery store a couple days ago, and I happened to catch the bags out of the corner of my eye. They were in our produce section, like where you'd find smoothie mixes and salsa packets and stuff like that, like by the fruit and vegetables. But hi, Kitty. I think I need to turn my camera again.
Yeah, the sun was blocked there for a second. I was getting amazing colors from the leaves and stuff, but
should I? Well, what? I can also completely flip it around, but maybe I should go to what direction should I turn?
I mean, yeah, probably go so the sun's pointing at you more.
More than, so I should keep turning?
Well, yeah, so like the sun should be facing you.
Okay. Well, see, I was trying to give you guys a better looking background than our house.
Oh.
That's why. Because, I mean, that looks a lot prettier than siding.
Yeah, well, so wait. Oh, well, okay, so, yeah, just stay there. You're good.
Yeah.
We're almost done anyway, so it's all good.
Jojo, shut up.
Yeah, so this salad place that we ate at the other day is called, what was it called? You know, it has Monster in the title.
I just ate it. It was great.
Let's see. Garden Monsters.
Garden Monsters.
The restaurant is called Garden Monsters. And they have keto, vegan, and just regular options for all of their food. And so we each had, I did a salad with, I had a salad with Southwestern ranch dressing. So it seemed like it was ranch with taco seasoning in it.
Nice.
And chicken and the little cheese Krispies and cucumbers, I think. You did like a Caesar with veggie chicken.
Yeah, with vegan chicken, and I put avocados in it, but I think the avocados ruined it, so I'm gonna get no avocados next time. It was too mushy, and they were too big.
Yeah, right, avocados have got a very, like, you have to have, like, you can't have too much of them at once. It can very much overpower stuff. Also, they drive me nuts here because it's like, it's not ripe enough, and they're bad. You know, you have like a tiny little window that you can use them.
I'm pretty sure that's the name of the episode. Not ripe enough, and then they're bad.
I believe that is every human being's complaint about avocados, because I hear that all the time from people. I personally have no idea how to tell if they're ripe or not. When they're hard, of course, they always know when they're too ripe.
Yeah, you want to wait till they just start getting a little squishy, and then because I tried get, like opening one, it was like, hey, this one's kind of firm here, and I go to cut it, and it's like, first of all, it's a pain in the ass to cut, and then the inside, it just did not want to scoop out. It was just not good enough. And it was just a few days later, it was already brown and icky, and a little bit of brown's okay, but I don't know.
Yeah, avocados make life too difficult. I just don't buy them. And I don't really like the flavor of them anyways, so I'm good. I just like to grow the pits.
Yeah.
Yes, she does.
Yes, I do.
All of them.
All of
All
the
of
pits.
the pits.
Oh, shoot. I wonder where those apple seeds went. I ate an apple the other day and it had 4 seeds in it. And I'm not sure where I put those now.
And
Well,
whatever, I mean, obviously, it's apples are one of those fruits that if you plant the apple seeds, you're not going to get the same thing that you just ate.
yeah.
And they say that there are so many varieties of apples that you can eat a different one every day for your entire life and never eat the same one twice. I think that if that's the case, there's probably a whole bunch of them that are so close you won't know the difference in this.
I bought. Go ahead, DJ.
We heard a little phrase the other day. An apple a day equals 356 apples. 365 apples. 365 apples.
It's a lot of apples.
DJ doesn't like apples, but the guinea pigs and I eat them.
I like apples.
So
so if there's an apocalypse and all I can find are apples, I'll eat them because they're a necessity. But I don't like the flavor. It's just something about them.
With this being Oregon and with us being so close to Washington, definitely all you're going to find is apples. I mean, that's not true. There's tons and tons of stuff growing out here, but there is a ton of apples.
They've got guerrilla gardeners, they call them. Guerrilla gardeners. This is kind of neat. So they take they have all these flowering trees in the city that are planted along the roads and stuff. So people go out at night with these big old handfuls of clippings from different fruit trees. So they go out to these, they'll take a hold of a branch, snip it, stick one of these cuttings in there, put their plant tape on it. And so now all of a sudden they'll just do this throughout. They'll just go down and do that. Where now all of a sudden you've got fruit growing on these trees that aren't fruit trees. And
weird.
Basically you have homeless people all over the place and they don't want to put trees that have food falling from the sky. But yeah, they call it guerrilla gardening, where they just go on public property and just graft in their fruits into their trees.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Nice.
I've definitely seen more varieties of trees growing edible whatever out here than I ever did in North Dakota, because all you're going to find there is apple trees in North Dakota. I mean, I don't think I ever saw anything else. And just here by our old house, I know that we had cherries and figs, blueberries, raspberries, black cherries, I think. Yeah, there were a ton of them. And now I still have 2 big lemon trees that are growing that I started from seed years ago already. And then I have a lime tree that we bought last year and an avocado tree. And I used to have a bunch of orange trees and they all died. An apple, those all died too.
You're pretty north for those. You're pretty north for a lot of them.
Well, yeah. No, what happened last year was after I broke my foot, which was the middle of August, I couldn't quite get anybody to care for my plants as much as I do. And I couldn't get out of the house really. And so everything died because I couldn't keep up with it. So I lost a lot of stuff last summer.
It's true.
But you should see our garden since I'm outside. I can flip the camera, right? There
You
we
should
go.
be able to.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. So here's our garden.
Oh,
And
nice.
so I mean, I haven't worked in it much at all, but all this ferny stuff is fennel, and the guinea pigs eat that stuff like crazy. So
We would like less fennel in our garden.
yes, we would. We could definitely use less fennel. And then I planted stuff here last year. You can see how that went.
Mhm.
One was a tomato plant, so that would have died over the winter. And then I had basil. I planted strawberries, and then as they grow, they get a lot of runners on them. So I planted them starting in the corner, and they've gone pretty far. So I'm really good with that
Huh.
because they've gone in both directions. And then honestly, I guess that's really the only other thing that I put in the garden that exists that I planted. There's a whole lot of weeds that have
Did
to be
you
pulled
guys do
out.
that, or was that there when you got the place?
It was
The
here when we got
box,
the place.
the box garden. Yeah, the box was already built there, and most of the fennel. Well, actually, the fennel was already planted. There were hops in that garden too, and it still keeps growing. And I'm allergic to hops, so we have to pull it. But I mean,
What?
yeah,
Um,
there's some hops coming up, I'm guessing.
Oh God, I can't really. I'm gonna have to come in probably. That idiot is burning again.
There's a We have a neighbor like across some yards that they've got their chimney just pumping out this putrid smoke all the time. It's just disgusting.
Yeah, it's that blue house way back there in the distance in between the two gray ones.
Are you guys
And
allowed to go outside?
depending on, I mean, there's burn bans depending on the weather. Right now, it's no. Let's see. Last year I planted what is this stuff? Lavender.
I got lavender seeds.
So this
It's
is my
barely started.
lavender.
All died off. Damn it, dog. She'll take a ball and she'll try to put it on my lap, and it's like it rolls on, and it usually goes underneath the table or something. And I don't think she realizes what the hell she's doing, so she'll get it back, and then she'll try to set it on my lap again. And
Well, you're interacting.
And once you get back up off the floor, let's try to wrap her up so that we don't go too long.
it's vanished. I don't know what to tell her.
All right.
Oh, yeah, you. You're alone.
Well, it's been a while, and I'd like to have more of these, get back to some sort of a rhythm. So maybe we do it a couple of times a month at first and see how it goes.
Yeah.
Maybe keep you on a short day once a week, at least a couple of times a month, and then we can do them in your afternoons on that day, maybe. And then we'll go from there. See that, or I'll drag some of the other hosts in and do those once a week or something again, and pick them up again because I'd like the Greatest Show to come back to a more regular thing.
Yeah. Weekends are usually, when we're not virusing. After work, I usually go right to the lake. We geek out with LARPs. So we're obviously not doing that right now, though.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank Bob for joining me.
Thanks for having me, bro.
And I want to thank Tricia for still being in the same house with me since we're all in pandemic mode.
Well, I mean, we have a week together
Yeah, we do.
for the first time. He has vacation this coming week, if he didn't tell you that.
It's my first vacation of the year, I think. So
Probably.
yeah, it is. So it's been a long time coming that I've finally gotten a whole week off. So All
Had
right.
about 3
So
so far.
what?
I've had off about 3 days so far this year.
And I'm essential personnel, so I basically I didn't really it's just been going. So. We will return with more episodes. There is, as Bob hinted, a planned interview coming up that will be a greatest show with somebody who I have been trying to work out time with, which I realized the other day was, hey, we've got a pandemic. He can't go anywhere, so it's coming. And we will go with that. But until next time, this has been The Greatest Show at episode 152, and we will see you in the future. Goodbye!
Bye.